the result of those very disturbing videos that all of us have seen by now.
Yeah.
Videos that Planned Parenthood and a lot of other people say were doctored, were edited, weren't really reliable. Elijah Cummings, the ranking Democrat on your committee, he asked you to call the makers of that video before the committee for a hearing. You declined. Why?
Well, first step is issuing a subpoena, which I did without the Democrats supporting it. Issue a subpoena to get all of the videos.
Have you seen all of the videos?
No, nobody has.
Videos?
Nobody has.
Do you have them yet?
No, we haven't, because we issued a subpoena, but there's a temporary restraining order in California, so there's a conflict between the legislative branch and the judicial branch, and until we get all those videos, we're not going to call up this person to question him on the videos.
Will you bring that person who created those disturbing videos before the committee? Will you have a chance to review everything to see if, in fact, those videos were edited, doctored, to make it look as awful as it does?
Well, the reason that these people think that they supposedly were doctored is because all of the raw footage is already out there. That's the whole point. The videos that we have not yet seen, we've got to get those into the committee, and then we'll make a decision about whether or not we even hold another hearing.
But to the average person out there, how can they authenticate that it hasn't been edited unless you get all the raw video that you clearly want that you haven't received yet?
Exactly. Elijah Cummings and I agree. We need to see all of the footage. That's why I issued a subpoena weeks ago, and we hope to get that footage.
So why bring her before the committee before you have a thorough investigation of the actual video that resulted in all of this?
Because it wasn't a hearing about the videos. The hearing was about the funding of Planned Parenthood, which was very germane to the discussion we're having about funding of the government. Why should we send taxpayer dollars to Planned Parenthood when they have more than $100 million in revenue over their expenses?
Why is it relevant how much money she earns every year, Cecile Richards, the leader of Planned Parenthood?
She's had more than, it's something like a $250,000 increase in her overall compensation.
But it's not a government organization.
Exactly. It's a not-for-profit organization.
Yeah, but they could pay a lot. Executives for the American Red Cross, for the American Cancer Society, they get paid huge salaries as well.
And I think that's a problem. If you're a not-for-profit organization and you're scrambling for dollars, our point is if you want to service more women's health care, if you want to get more dollars to actually into care, these 13,000 community health centers are probably a better solution. They are masterful at raising money at Planned Parenthood, but they're very much a political organization. They have a 501c4. They have 527s that are under that. They have shared employees. Cecile Richards also takes money from the organization that's involved in the political activity. I'm telling you, it just doesn't make sense.
But you have to admit that Planned Parenthood, even though you disagree with a lot of what they do, especially the abortions, I know you oppose abortion rights for women, they do some really important work helping women get screenings for cancer, sexually transmitted diseases, birth control. They help women, don't they?
I think they do some valuable service, but to suggest that they're the leader in helping women in breast cancer screenings when they offer no mammograms, my wife is involved and engaged in helping women who go through this process. She works for a plastic surgeon, and women are going through these double mastectomies, and it's just very, very difficult work. My mother passed away from breast cancer. To try to characterize Republicans as if we don't care, I take great personal offense to. It's why I let off in the hearing. We do care about this, and I happen to believe if you want more bang for your buck, if you want to service more people, if you want to provide more access, Planned Parenthood is not your solution.
Planned Parenthood says they'll send women to other clinics for mammograms. They don't do mammograms.
Then let's give money right to those clinics that actually offer the mammograms.
Those other clinics, as well as Planned Parenthood, they get reimbursed by Medicaid for poor women who can't afford those services. The federal government or the states in certain circumstances will step in and reimburse them for of critically important services.
There are less than 700 Planned Parenthood facilities, yet there are 13,000 community health care services.
But if the hospital does that kind of service, they get reimbursed by Medicaid as well, the same kind of reimbursement.
I think with the challenge that we have is that the taxpayers are spending more than $500 million in an organization. They take revenue, they send it overseas. They're buying first-class tickets. They're getting private aircraft. They're paying nearly $600,000 in salary. They're doing all of these things that don't go directly to women's health.
Is there any evidence, in your opinion, that Planned Parenthood has broken any law?
No, I'm not suggesting they broke the law, but we have a responsibility in Congress. If they're going to take over nearly $500 million in revenue from the federal government, we have a responsibility to dive deep into how they're spending that money.
Listen to Carolyn Maloney, a Democrat on your committee. She summed up what she saw yesterday this way.
Make no mistake, despite what we hear from the other side, Republicans are doubling down on their war against women. We need to recognize this fight for what it is. It's about banning a woman's right to choose.
All right, so that's what she says, strong words from her. Is she right?
No, she's not right.
If Planned
It's
Parenthood didn't do abortions, would you support Planned Parenthood?
Well, I totally disagree with the idea that they should be involved in this. There are no federal dollars that go to abortions. I get that. They make that argument. I think there's a better way to get more dollars into women's health care. I care deeply about this.
Is this really all about abortions, or is it about something else?
It's about how we fund the community health care services. It's about how we fund Planned Parenthood. They're very much a political organization. They're very involved in engagement.
What do you recommend that Planned Parenthood do? What would you do?
Well, we had to provide oversight. We got to have a discussion. Are we going to continue to pour nearly $500 million into an organization that is a get-out-the-vote type of organization for the Democrats? Is that fair? Or could we
actually... I just want to point out, of that $500 million, about 75% are Medicaid reimbursements for critically important things that Planned Parenthood does for especially poor women who have no alternatives.
You make it sound so sweet, but there are a lot of other things that they are doing with those shared employees, shared assets, shared email lists that are engaged in these political activities. They're so flush with cash, they spend tens of millions of dollars over the course of years sending it overseas. When they're buying first-class air travel and chartering aircraft and doing it, doesn't really sound like all that money is really going to help that poor young woman who's looking for a little health care. I have called for quadrupling the expenditure we have on cancer. I want the Democrats to join me on that. We only spend $5.5 billion on cancer fight, and yet it kills 1,500 people a day in this country. So don't tell me that we don't care about this.
I agree. We should be spending more on the fight against cancer, a fight against...
So why should we give $60 million in Title X funding to Planned Parenthood? Put that money into fight cancer instead of buying first-class tickets for Planned Parenthood. All right, well, that's where I get fired up. That's where I'm passionate about. Well, so don't tell me that I don't care about this. When I lost my mother to this, when my dad died from cancer, when my wife works on this, there is a better way to do this. I don't want to send the money overseas. I don't want them to be engaged in political activity. I want to fight and win the war on cancer. I'm tired of getting lectures from these Democrats that try to say we don't care about women. That is just absolutely offensive.
I totally agree. The U.S. should be spending a lot more to fight cancer.
Then where are you going to get the money? You can grab it out of Planned Parenthood and put it into cancer.
There's no doubt a lot of money has been wasted in Iraq and Afghanistan.
I didn't vote for that. We were wrong for going in there. I'll find a lot of money with you, but some of it should come from